Hi, my name is Leah Hopkins. I am a Master's of Education student at the University of Ottawa, and welcome to my book review recording of Constructing Research Questions, Doing Interesting Research, written by Alvison and Sandberg for Class 5190, Introduction to Research in Education with Professor Olga Fallis. Alvison and Sandberg's book, Constructing Research Questions, offers a comprehensive strategy to create research questions that are more likely to lead to interesting and influential theories. Most research project textbooks, O'Leary, for example, will quickly discuss some essential strategies to create research questions. However, Alvison and Sandberg suggest a reframing of the research practice by proposing a revision of how we approach research questions through problematization as a methodology. Problematization, as described by Alvison and Sandberg, is questioning the assumptions underlying existing theory in some significant way. The authors proclaim that problematization can support the creation of a research question that is interesting and influential because this methodology enables us to identify, articulate, and challenge the different types of assumptions underlying existing literature. Unfortunately, the authors discovered problematization is not a common methodology in research, as this strategy can materialize into complex research. As a result, to avoid the messy research, researchers will stick to a research project that consists of a narrow addition to a specific topic, which is often uninteresting and uninspiring. To discover how research is commonly formulated, Alvison and Sandberg performed a study by reviewing existing literature. Their study concluded that gap spotting is the most dominant way of constructing research questions. Gap spotting emerges when researchers review the literature on a topic with the primary aim of spotting gaps in the research. Gap spotting typically develops from a form of confusion, neglect, and application spotting, which simply extends or complements existing literature. Alvison and Sandberg claim that gap spotting, even though it does have a purpose for some research, it does not challenge assumptions in the existing literature and therefore does not arguably bring forth a research question that will likely be interesting and influential. The authors determined two key questions that researchers should consider when developing problematization as a methodology. First, what types of assumptions are relevant to the topic? And second, how can these assumptions be identified, articulated, and challenged in a way that is likely to lead to the development of an interesting theory? When comparing O'Leary and Alvison and Sandberg, I noticed the material provided by O'Leary complements the basic strategies supplied by Alvison and Sandberg. For example, both textbooks suggest that often researchers discover their topic of interest from empirical material, existing literature, and mass media. Both textbooks also suggest that no matter how interesting a topic appears in the end, your project must be doable. For researchers to perform their study, they are required to approach their publishing journal and funding bodies to ensure they have the approval to conduct the research and in turn have their work published. As a result, all research questions and plans must be approved. Both O'Leary and Alvison and Sandberg recognize this as an essential criterion to perform any research. Understandably, O'Leary does not provide any pushback to this criterion as it is not the goal of the textbook. Meanwhile, Alvison and Sandberg demonstrate how this criterion is influencing the type of research that is being produced by stating, many researchers tend to adjust their research questions to meet the criteria stipulated by funding bodies and journals as a way to maximize the possibility of receiving research funding, getting published in good journals, and thus climbing the ladder more quickly. As a result, due to research questions having to be adjusted to fit the criteria of funding bodies, Alvison and Sandberg are suggesting this is determining why there is a greater emphasis on gap spotting and a shortage on problematization. I assumed the goal of all researchers would be to conduct research that is interesting and influential, and I chose to review Alvison and Sandberg as I was interested in learning about how researchers acquire compelling research questions. I was surprised to learn just how controlling funding bodies or employer requirements are influencing the motivation for tenure or promotion to researchers conducting their studies. There are institutional conditions and professional norms that are supporting the use of gap spotting in how research is conducted and what research is published. If research is suggesting the use of gap spotting methodology is overused and not producing research that is innovative, why are funding bodies continuing to promote consensus confirming work? The researchers and institutions who are benefiting and are successful within this system are not concerned with the specific forms of research. Rather, they are concerned with getting value for money and creating an impression of control over what research allocated money is being spent on. If they were to invest money into controversial or messy studies, they may face consequences that could hinder their institutional position and pay. Therefore, they tend to avoid complex research, leaving the researchers who wish to protest the system no other alternative. At what point will the world of research be forced to change the system and get social research back on track by supporting innovative research? For this reason, I am interested in learning more about why university committees are not making necessary changes to their research policies when it has been proven it will lead to more interesting and influential research.